Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I hope all of you had a good, strong coffee after lunch. You're going to want to listen to this. Uh, I think you've seen some really impressive tech in the last couple of days. But one of the hardest problems which hasn't been addressed yet is your critical decision makers in your organization, like loan officers, bankers, financial advisors. In ground reality, it doesn't matter how advanced your apps get, they still have to stitch together disjointed information from many sources to finally make a judgment call. And they go back and forth through meetings and documents to be able to do so. Take SMB Lending as an example. A single loan application takes around 150 active hours of work, which equates to around 30 to 90 calendar days across multiple reviews and approvals. Independent studies from McKinsey and KPMG both have shown that 60 to 80% of that time, of that 150 active hours, actually goes into reading, flagging gaps and risks, reconciling contradictions, drafting the decisions in the form of underwriting memos, portfolio summaries. That's what your critical decisions makers finally have to juggle with. You add on the call transcripts, the email archives, the statements. You're just increasing significantly the load to retrieve and to synthesize. That gap between the endless disjointed information and purpose-driven knowledge is what Clarista was built to close. Just as an example, using Clarista, we can give you back hundreds of hours of productive time per loan application to your underwriting teams. Now, let me hand it over to my colleague, Clay, to show you how Clarista does it.
Awesome. Thank you, Savrad. So let's make it real and step into the shoes of a loan officer reviewing a small business credit application for Horizon HVAC, a fictitious company. And while the role changes, loan officer, compliance analyst, fraud reviewer, the pattern always stays the same. I'm staring at this mess of sources, emails, call transcripts, application documents, financial details, and more. I need to make sense of all this, connect the dots, spot the red flags, and make a confident judgment call. Except this time, the Clarista AI agent will work alongside me. So before we jump in and see the outputs, let's see how the agent actually works under the hood. It doesn't just jump to an answer. Instead, what it's going to do is build a mental model of my objectives first. To do this, it uses a variety of tools to make sense of my world. A mind map to understand the relationships. For Horizon HVAC, I can quickly see everything from their product portfolio all the way down to their strategic challenges. Now I have a mental model in minutes that would have otherwise taken me days to construct. Additionally, a timeline to trace how events have unfolded for Horizon HVAC. I can connect events like a business license issuance all the way down to see income flows and business opportunities. This helps me form a better understanding of how to approach the second layer of my analysis. Finally, facts. To anticipate the obvious questions, such as the main categories of expenses. This will be useful for me whenever I want to understand and dig deeper into the intended use of funds for this loan. These artifacts show the agent's thinking process. This is the scaffolding that it builds to reason and generate trusted outputs of value to me as the credit officer. And in many ways, it mirrors how a human would approach this problem, connecting facts, sequencing events, anticipating questions. But instead of it all living in my head, Clarista makes the reasoning visible, explicit, and reusable. It's how a pile of transcripts and filings becomes signal that I can trust. This scaffolding isn't the end. It's just the starting point. From it, the agent generates outputs that I need. And for me, the first thing I want is a red flag report, a single place for me to see every contradiction and anomaly in the application, so I know exactly where to focus my attention. Take Horizon HVAC, for example. Their written application earmarked $50,000 for inventory. But in a recent call, the owner instead framed that same $50,000 as reserve buffer. Two very different stories. That's the kind of subtle shift that I'd normally spend hours cross-checking to catch. The agent flags it instantly with a direct link back to the source. And these reports aren't one-offs. They can be saved as templates so every new application runs through the same checks automatically. They're also highly configurable. Every section has its own controls, so the outputs adapt to my workflow. So that use of funds red flag, that was concerning to me. It's definitely something that I want to dig deeper into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Q&A, and I'm going to query their cash debits. I want to see how the money's actually being used right now. It's as simple as hopping over to our Q&A chat and asking the question. And the Clarista agent searches across the connected financials and documents and merges the results, giving me an answer with citations. This isn't search, this is synthesis. Confidence comes from verifying facts in real time. And finally, once I have all of these outputs and I've chased down the anomalies and I've asked my follow-up questions, I'm ready for the polished view. So from that scaffolding, the agent delivers a decision-ready credit memo. Instead of scattered transcripts, emails, and spreadsheets, I get a single story of the business, who they are, why they need funding, where the money will go, how strong their financial footing really is. Strengths and risks are side by side, every point tied back to its source. What would have taken me days in sifting through scattered documents, Clarista now delivers in minutes. One memo that balances growth potential with credit risk and backs every line with evidence. So let's recap. I began with chaotic loan file, call transcripts, emails, financials, and more. The Clarista agent turned the scattered inputs into structured intelligence and delivered a mind map and timeline to reveal the structure of the application, a red flag report to spot the risks, Q&A for deeper checks, and a final credit memo synthesizing all this disjointed information into a single coherent decision brief. Savrat, back to you.
Hey, thanks, Clay. That was awesome. Look, AI is evolving fast. We all know that. And yes, it can be transformative for decision makers like you who are accountable for the outcomes that matter. But you're not going to get there with just a chatbot in each application. You need synthesis across all those applications. You need much more than that. What your team grinds through today, parsing the documents, is spotting contradictions, is stitching different pieces of information, all done manually. Clarista agents do that continuously and relentlessly, and you saw it firsthand. And then it hands the decision back to where it belongs, with you. Result, your teams are saving hundreds of hours of productive time. Contrary to a blank Q&A screen alone, Clarista is an informed first framework. We thank you for your time, and we hope to continue the discussion.